So this is gonna be Married to Medicine, season 12, the reunion part 1, episode 15. Okay, reunions are gonna be long, just so y'all know. So put your seatbelt on because it's gonna be a lot. But before you even start, the fashions, right? Um, so I looked at everybody's outfit and I think I'm gonna give it to Dr. Jackie and Toya. Who else looked nice? Jackie, Toya, Contessa looked nice. Um, Everybody else in the middle, quad, regular quad, I guess. Simone did switch it up a little bit, so I think I kind of maybe like what the hair or the dark color on her. The dress wasn't bad. I'm not say it was ugly or nothing. She ain't on the worst dress list. I think that one go to Dr. Mimi. I didn't like the haircut or the dress. So, oh, except for Dr. Jackie's makeup. Why didn't they do a retouch up on there? It was really, really cracking. And that's not how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be smooth. So the first thing that we noticed is that Simone is in the dressing room by herself getting ready. And we all know that since Simone and Jackie is bestest of friends, they always get dressed together. So, Andy ain't really feeling it. I mean, Jackie obviously ain't feeling it because, my friend. And Simone is like, girl, she picked a side. So I'm gonna have to take a stance. And this is gonna be what it be. Okay? She told Andy, you stopped me from a divorce. Let's see if you can help me from stopping this friendship. And I must say, this is a first. Every season since 1 through 11, first chair always goes to Jackie and Simone. Jackie and Simone always sit next to Andy. Toya and Quad is sitting next to Andy. Y'all notice that? Now, the shade of it all, the first question you're going to ask Toya is, it's been 6 months since the show. You still in that house? I mean, I would assume she would be. She usually stay a year. There she go. But we all get the joke. She always in a new house. You should ask her about that tree. Is the tree still in the house? So what's Heavenly's opinion on her in the house? Of course, she really don't care. So she just goes say, give her a couple years, she'll sell it and, end up in a condo somewhere. Like a condo, still with Eugene. You got to keep Eugene. Oh, geez, I got to bring up the whole pressure washing of the house because, his opinions, what Dr. Mimi thought about Toya and Eugene, fighting and stuff. Her opinion, so whatever. Everybody can fight, right? In they relationships, okay? But it was only her expressing how she felt about it. Even though other people did. Simone and being around Toya in her house and all that stuff, in her comments, which she stands on. I can't remember what the dang comment was, but I like that she did give Toya a couple props, just to say like, we do joke about her and them moving all the time, but when she does have her houses, they all be nice. It's not like they be ugly and be raggedy and be dirty and stuff. They all be nice. Or, pressure wash your house, girl. It's a hostile environment already. We done, I think from this point on, everybody's just gonna be on ready pretty much, okay? Because we got Toya basically coming for Heavenly and Dr. Jackie, okay? Speaking about, because everybody got opinions about her and Eugene and what they got going on and how she treat him and this and that. But for Toya, it's like, well, what's going on in their house? What they not talking about, what they not showing, or what have they said? And we, spoke on it and had to deal with certain things, right? So, speaking up, Dr. Jackie decided to speak up because, well, you spoke on me and my relationship and Curtis and stuff. Well, yeah, because you the one who brought it up, right? Which, could we say that she brought it up? The blogs brought it up and she was forced to talk about it on the show. Let's just, let's be real about that. And if she didn't bring it up on the show, Toya, you was definitely gonna say, well, what happened with Curtis down there with that girl? You know what I'm saying? So she basically, they going back and forth, telling Jackie, listen, Curtis is the last person I need to be talking to anybody, mans or husbands, especially Eugene, giving him advice of what he's supposed to do in our marriage and things like that, because he don't do things right in his marriages. Or I mean, he might do them now, but yeah, definitely was busted. So they going back and forth about it, and let's put things on the floor, okay? Who because my neighbor's telling me about Damon being out, and Heavenly like, oh, well, what about Eugene working at the hospital? You want to explain why he was fired? Things like, going back and forth, back and forth. I'm like, oh Jesus. Yeah, we this gonna be, everybody is definitely ready to spill what they trying to spill, let their frustrations out, and I don't know. And it's only gonna be 2 parts. Usually there's 3, and yeah, I think Andy's just about to rush through this. I think that's what's gonna happen. Andy's gonna ask the question, they're gonna fight about it, and he's gonna say, "Oh, okay, well let's just move on." And then we're gonna be like, "Oh shit! Now we gotta wait till the dang season to come on to get any type of resolution." But we'll see. We'll see. So Andy asked Toya about, the argument that Eugene and her had at the party at her house. Like, after watching it, how does she feel about it? Of course, she emotional about it because, looking back at it, that's not something that she wants to do, especially for the public to view and scrutinize their marriage, and do it especially in front of people who don't care for her or Eugene at all, or their family. You know what I'm saying? Basically speaking on the ladies, because what were they doing at the party? Definitely staring and definitely saying, "Girl, what the hell's going on? Ooh, Mimi, ooh, this is cringy to watch. I can't believe this. This is disrespectful," and all types of stuff. My husband would never, things like that. Or I would never, boo boo whoop. And I did like the contestant stepped in here real quick just to say, like, all right, like, honestly, we did intervene in a way that we probably shouldn't have, and poking fun at them like that, because it's not funny. This is their relationship. This is real life, and yeah. So Toya does regret, definitely, that definitely happened, especially on the camera and everybody to watch in front of everybody, because that's just not the way that they handle their things privately in their marriage. Technically we don't know, but you don't want to do stuff like that in the public. You keep it in the house. Woo, woo, woo. And she said it was just already like a build up from the day of just a whole bunch of stuff, and then just popped off the way it did, and it just wasn't supposed to happen. And of course, her and Mimi have that back and forth because, yeah, you was one of the main culprits over there, Kiki and cackling, and y'all was peeking around the corner. What was his name? Stevie, you peeking around watching and things like that. Like, really? And then got kicked out, even though she sounded first to leave. But yeah, she did call y'all bitches and whoop. I don't give a fuck about these bitches. Get out, all that stuff that she was screaming. And yeah, so you left. The whole comment that Heavenly made in the text about Eugene and all that stuff, like, Damon this and he this, and, whatever, my man, all that stuff. Back and forth, she, they already know. I don't give a fuck about her, she don't give a fuck about me, but that's all. She always going for the low point, and that's the low point she always hit me with, is that. But what Damon, yeah, don't stop worried about it. You want it? Leave it alone. So the Met Gala, was this putting Toya in charge to teach her a lesson? And Dr. Jackie says yes and no. Like, I mean, we all know it was a big old yes, but we know how she answers questions. So it's a yes and no, because we know that Toya throw parties, right? All her parties be, nice and big and whatever, like she do. We just wanted her to see exactly, how much hard work it goes into putting into these things, and when we do it and ask for help, it's because of X, Y, and Z. It's not because, oh, we begging and this for that. You know what I'm saying? No, because it's supposed to be an event that we're all involved in, and da 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 da. But um, the Met Gala went off good without a hitch, and everything turned out well. Heavenly gave her props, and Toya does appreciate that the ladies did, not throw her, like at least they gave her enough praise that she can appreciate. Like that was something that at least she know was real. All right, so it's Quad's turn, and of course, King. That whole relationship. This was, we'll say, what, 2 seasons. We do know they broke up already. Like what, 2 months or so back. When did the show dang start? I be forgetting how long these things be running for. I want to say it was like October, but was it that long? November? Well, he the one that busted it out, so that's why we already knew. So watching the show was kind of like, whatever, because we already knew what was going to happen. And watching the show, we can see how it happened. That whole IVF trying to have a baby thing, instead of enjoying the relationship and being in the relationship present with each other, worried about this baby just kind of just messed it all up, because that's all that the focus is on. And amongst other things, that's just where they ultimately just ended. Heavenly, she said she ain't say it, but she said that the whole King relationship was fake and it was all for a storyline. She's trying to say, I ain't say that, I ain't say that, I ain't say that. But quite like, yeah, whatever. I don't know if you said it or not, but either way, I don't need no storyline. I mean, I miss Quad. I mean, whatever, you know what I'm saying? I love the man, right? I showed y'all everything was all good, but when it was bad, it was just bad and it was just over. And that's just what it is. Contessa brings up that he is not here today, so we will not see him when the husbands come out, which I think for us and maybe for the other ladies, it would have been a good idea for him to show up just to get his little side of the story. But she said she ain't tell him he couldn't come, so I guess it was all on him. And she found out that the ladies are actually still in communication with him. And of course, she feels some type of way because y'all talking to my ex, like for real, for real. And I mean, sure, but they still talk to Dr. Greg, which I think was a problem at in the beginning, yes, but it's Dr. Greg, and they're all friends with like he's not. How they not gonna not talk to each other when our husbands is their friends? So yeah, I'm gonna see him if he come over to my house to hang out with my husband or whatever, like stuff like that. But definitely see him or Miss Sweet Tea, right? But it is what it is, she can't do nothing about that. The IVF journey, it does take some time and a lot of money to do, to get through that process. Um, of course, Dr. Jackie with her good advice and knowledge, because, she works in this realm, but, she understands it's a hard thing anyway, right? But it didn't work out. Simone asked, like, why did y'all even move forward with even like wanting to have a baby when y'all not even was trying to get married and at the first y'all didn't what couldn't even figure out where y'all wanted to live and all this type of stuff. Like, it was just, but y'all were just going, oh, we're just gonna have a baby. For Quad, it's like, well, I mean, he a good co-parent to his daughter and stuff, so it was like, I knew that he would be a good father, so I could have the baby, and we didn't have to live together because that's not what he do currently, right? Okay, fine. A lot of people do that. Um, Contessa, kind of just asked, just because from the dynamics of the relationship, like just saying, like just from last season to this season, he was kind of like pulled back, like I don't know about this, I don't know about this, and it was just a lot. And for him, it was like, well, I'm just doing a lot, doing this for her, not necessarily doing it for myself. So when you're not doing that, it's like I'm not really thinking about myself or putting my needs, anywhere in this category, and I'm just doing it all for her. So it's like, I don't know about this. And for Quad, it's like, well, I mean, that's what y'all see, fine, whatever. But at least for her, that's just not what it was. They were a couple, they were in it, They were trying, but to see that him mentioning that, at least with the guys and all that stuff, it was like, ooh, well, dang, I didn't even know they even felt that way, and it was like, well, dang, where I was missing the mark somewhere, I guess so. But either way, they ain't together no way, so they ain't got nothing to figure out, right? Andy asked her where she go from here. Do you still want to have a baby or not? And she like, I mean, it's a possibility. You never know. She got to think about it, because you can have a baby. You just go over to the dang clinic and get your little sperm, and there you go. Right? So it's up to her if she want to do it or not. Time is a ticking, but she got decisions to make. So the new girls come out, Miss Angel and Dr. Brandy, okay? Um, their experiences being this their first time around, for both of them, right? A roller coaster, but a good one, right? Because technically both of them just kind of watched, all the drama unfold around them. And then they had a couple, stints, involving themselves, but it wasn't nothing, little, nothing too extreme, right? The first one being, well, actually, before we even get to that, Angel, what Heavenly, oh, because she had something to say about her dancing, you know, was it being deferious or not? I mean, for Heavenly, yes, it was. She'll never admit it, but it was. But, where she learned it, I don't know. She can use the body for multiple things, right? Who's to tell? But anyway, she described how, she not necessarily a movie star, but she just been in the industry just, since college. So she been everywhere, movie videos, all that type of stuff. And now she a nurse, and that's, is what it is. You know what I'm saying? When it come to Brandy, yeah, say first instinct, I guess, that she would have gotten into was the whole thing with her and Contessa at that birthday dinner, okay? And she's saying birthday dinner because they was at a restaurant and was sitting down eating. Contessa was over there, and I don't know, complaining about, oh, why we, doing all this praise for this old, little ass shindig of a party. Like, what is this? But previous to that, when we was at her birthday party at hers, it was this whole thing like, oh, I planned this all by myself. Scott didn't do nothing. It was all me, all me, all me. But then you get to the dinner, and I guess she must have heard that Heavenly and Brandy was talking about the party, her and Scott, and this and this and that. So for her, I guess it was just like, oh, well, it was just playing off of what you was talking about me, so I'm talking about you. A little rinky dink ass party or whatever. But Brandy was just saying, like, they did have words after the fact, because, you watch it back. Because in the moment, you don't really see everything, hear everything. You got to watch it and see what they actually put on the TV. She's like, dang, I didn't know Contessa was saying that little extra stuff. So at some point, they did work it out. Contessa, on the other hand, because it was a back and forth, it's kind of like, I mean, we worked it out, but the whole point was, like, y'all was, like, it was basically pointless. Y'all coming after me and Scott, and so I came after you and your little party. And the husband threw what? My husband didn't throw nothing. Is it a competition? I don't know, but y'all, for some reason, it just turned into this whole weird thing where it was supposed to be resolved, but now we don't brought it back up again. Like, whatever. So we get into Mimi's turn, right? Her little segment. And, before Andy can even ask her a question, she just goes straight into trying to explain herself, how, being a psychiatrist and things like that, it's just kind of her nature to just, step in there and try to dissolve the conflict. Being around these ladies, I guess, must be something new to her, because all the back and forth bickering, things like that, is kind of like, ooh, geez, like, I don't, like, I don't necessarily like it or nothing, but it's just something that I just do. So they're just trying to explain to her how, oh, and then, dealing with a special needs kid as well. It just, she always on, like, she just don't turn it off, let's just say. Like, And they're just trying to explain to her, like, well, you do need to just turn it off, especially because you're not at work, right? We're not your patients. We're supposed to be your homegirls, your friends. So we just want to kick it, whoop de whoop. Not like, oh, well, girl, you need to do this. And no, you need to do that. Like, no. But Toya butts in just a little bit to say, like, well, I mean, you're trying to say you don't like conflict and drama, right? But when we was at Heavenly's little campaign thing, you would definitely went over to Brandy, starting some mess by trying to tell her not to align herself with me. And Mimi was trying to explain herself with that. I don't know, like shoot, I don't even know what her explanation was because technically it spilled into a Toya and Heavenly back and forth, and they going back and forth, and it's like, wait a minute, I thought we were supposed to be on Mimi, but now here y'all go talking about all this and all this. You a liar, no, you a liar. Well, yeah, keep on lying. You supposed to be your campaign and this and that. Yeah. So the beef between Toya and Mimi, for Toya is like, I mean, I don't even understand like where it's coming from because it's for no reason. And for Mimi, it's really like, I mean, we never even got to know each other in the first place. Okay, we ain't even got no foundation at all. So I don't even know Toya, and we just started basically off on the wrong foot because Toya thinking that she was disrespecting, her and Eugene at the house. Mimi, like, I was not trying to disrespect you and Eugene. You asked for help on what you should do, and I told you to lean into your femininity or something like that. Like, I gave you an answer of advice. But somehow it flipped in your mind that, we was talking shit and this and that, which, whatever. I mean, sure. I think something kind of happened on along the line once Heavenly got, got to going. But yeah, that's how, I guess, should we say it started? Because it kind of was just from last season. I don't know if Andy was going to bring up, like you aligning yourself with Heavenly probably shouldn't be a good idea because she don't like Toya and, maybe clouding your judgment just a little bit. But when Toya gets her little chance to speak, she was saying, yeah, and just how you don't know me or whatever. Then he came me going over to Brandy trying to say, don't align yourself with people because what does that mean if you don't even know me? Like, you know what I'm saying? And so she was, apologizing to Brandy because that's not how it was supposed to be delivered to her, and they had their little words off camera to where it was resolved. But, Brandy gave her little nods of approval because, correct. And then they going through this back and forth because Mimi kept cutting Toya off and Toya kept cutting Mimi off. So we get into Dr. Mimi and her son, with the autism and being on the spectrum, high functioning, things like that is hard for people out there who go through it. But they do it. You can't not do it, right? It's your kid, it's your son. You have your ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs, but they get through it, and it's something they got to deal with. This is it's their life, and it's real. And she appreciates all the love that she got from all the fans and things of that nature. She gives her word of advice, and all the ladies give her, her praise and her flowers because it's a good thing to see on TV. Obviously, we always want to see the real you and what y'all got going in your lives, but also, for a show like this, so to speak, that we do need a soft side somewhere, right? And Toya gave her praise and just saying, piggybacking off of Mimi, God, don't put nothing on you that you can't handle. It's he was chosen to be your son, and y'all give him love and all that stuff that wonderful, right? And for this, that was a good opener. That Andy points out that maybe there is hope for you and Mimi in the future, Toya and Mimi, to be friends, right? Yeah. So it's not that the door is closed or anything, right? It's just, we ain't never get to know each other. So maybe one day we'll get our 101s and we can get there. If not, All right, so like I said, we moving a little fast here, and the men have arrived. Okay, the ladies go on break. The men is in the back. They just getting there, and Curtis noticed that Stevie over there is a little bit antsy. So what's going on? We might as well address it right now. Y'all too. What we don't need this. So psh, psh, they go straight into it. Stevie mad about the day Met Gala and the ticket. Okay, so they still mad because we didn't know we had to buy a ticket. I guess is how Stevie is putting it. Eugene, on the other hand, is saying, "Well, dude, we was in Jamaica. Remember, you said I don't want to go. I don't want to participate or whatever. I'm out. Right? We all saw it. We all heard it. So from there, why you even show up? You shouldn't even showed up." So Steve is just like, "Oh well, whatever, whatever. Um, I know we had to buy a ticket. I came because I showed up because it's the Met Gala, and it came to support." Okay, well then if you was gonna support, then buy a ticket. "Oh, I did buy a ticket." Well, you bought the ticket after we had to tell you to buy the ticket. I mean, what, you thought you was gonna show up for free? You talk about I'm on Dr. Jackie list or whatever. I'm at Dr. Jackie table. Did you check in with Dr. Jackie to see did she buy a ticket for you? Like, come on now. Like Juji said, you just trying to justify your bad behavior, putting it all on me when technically you probably shouldn't even have showed up because you said you was out in the first place. Okay, so that's Eugene's stance. Stevie over here gonna flip it all the way because he done lost this argument, right? He done lost this argument. Now he go flip it and say, "Oh, well, you justify bad behavior by being married to Toya," or excuse me? Oh, now why you gonna put my wife into it? Now why we gotta go there? Oh, well, see, and then the men now, because now they we all adjusting because what? No, like we can't go there. But Stevie said, "No, we is gonna go there." Like I'm standing on it, I'm 10 toes down. Like nigga, you a bitch. It's what basically. I mean, let's call it out, nigga. You a bitch, and what you gonna do about it? And Eugene is like, for real, I can't even like, y'all. You for real? You mad off? This is all over the Met Gala and some dang tickets. $150 tickets with your Louis Vuitton head to toe, nigga. You definitely could threw that at me in the fucking air, hell, and I would have like, yeah. So shots is definitely fired in this moment. Wait, I don't even know why they just cut the camera because how Curtis just jump in it? Like, what? What? Oh, cause you mad about the Toya thing? You still mad? Man, I probably should have. I don't even know why I ain't watched it. I know y'all see this is a late video, right? Man, I should have. Yeah, I should have watched this already. A little game with Dr. Heavenly. It's her turn. Yay or nay? Do you think Heavenly will pass a background check? They say yay.
No.
I would trust Heavenly with the nuclear codes. No, I know. Yay or nay? Heavenly needs a stylist. Yay. I ain't gonna say nothing, but she did say Dr. Jackie was gonna help her with a little stylist. You know what I'm saying? Because Dr. Jackie be doing it, girl. You don't.
I didn't want to do
Heavenly's campaign has a chance for more success than the beauty salon that she had open, or beauty supply store that she had open, and she gonna say they all gonna say yeah. Heavenly tells the truth about her life. They say nay. So where is Damon Jr. at? She still ain't been talking to her son like that. But she said he getting all the help he need. He apparently had some type of mental health breakdown. And this is something he dealing with, so she can't say too much. It's his story to tell. And she just stressing this whole mental health thing, how people get locked up and they're not treating the right people, with the proper way, because everybody need different treatment versus just throwing them all on the same thing. But if somebody need help a different way, do such. But she ended up calling on Dr. Mimi, I guess, for help, and just saying how Dr. Damon um, helped him get out and all that stuff. Because I'm assuming he was arrested. Called mom or dad, whatever, and Damon picked him up. So it's not like he necessarily maybe stayed the night in jail. I don't know like that, but just working in the community, right? They know people, so he pulled some strings. Luckily he who he is, but could have been anybody else. Yeah, they going to jail. Okay, but either who, yeah. So not too much you can say too much, but they still ain't in communication. So there was a question as to, remember how she said she only found out on the internet about her son because Dr. Damon had kept it a secret or whatever. I guess this is her admitting that, her and Damon, uh, well, I mean, is it her admitting that they got problems? But either way, she just says, well, the way her and Damon relationship operates is they don't talk about everything. So he just didn't tell her, and that's just is what it is. With that, Simone decided to chime in and say, yeah. And when it comes to filming time, we don't just wake up and say, oh, well, let me just put my family on blast because things just happen, right? Spontaneously in the moment, and then it catches up on camera, whatever, whatever, whatever. They go through a back and forth, back and forth. Well, my husband loves, my husband loves me so much. Dr. David love me all, ugh. And, Simone will very calmly, yes. And Cecil love me just as much, if not more. We've actually been on the show longer than you. I think we've been married longer than you. So you can't tell me nothing about nothing. And, oh, I think we got married because we wanted to, not because I was pregnant. So, do the ladies think that Heavenly is gonna win this representative something thing she running for? It's like a yes and no, right? Of course, Toya is a no. Backstage, the men watching, and they like, of course, Dr. David got his hand up. Of course you gonna win. And Stevie, following behind him. Yes, your wife, she gonna get. I got this. Do 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 do. And listen, y'all looked up his stats, nigga. You keep boasting about this football stuff. You barely even played. All right, so I guess the meat and the potatoes would be this Simone and Jackie and Heavenly Triangle, okay? Because we all know Simone and Jackie are friends, okay? Bestest of friends. We've known each other for years, since college or whatever, right? Work with each other, all these things, like literally meet up for lunch every day. That's what we do. But then all of a sudden, this dentist come in, okay? And I just never, maybe I got to go back, and maybe somebody can, put a little comment or something just to put what season and what episode was it that Jackie changed her mind about Heavenly and say, oh, well, you know what? Maybe she ain't so bad after all. Was it like season 5 or something? I don't know, but I gotta figure this out because I think I'm most of my own side when it comes to this, and I think a lot of people are just going back, walking this, Andy walking us through here, to how the wedge between the friendship is Heavenly. And of course, Heavenly is throwing her little comments slick under her breath here and there. Um, and Heavenly is just trying to explain when it comes to the whole you pushed me, you hit me, you was unhinged, you was so angry, enraged, like I felt unsafe. Okay? You hear these trigger words? You hear these trigger words, right? It's not okay being my friend to say to when asked about the situation and after seeing the tape and everything to still not say, well, Heavenly probably shouldn't have said that. That's all you had to say, especially when you went on What Happens Live. Watch What Happens Live because Andy asked all the questions, and all you had to do was say, "Yeah, Heavenly shouldn't have did that." Then I told her, and I talked to her and this and that. Ooh. Nope. You kept it neutral, as you always do, right? Which neutral necessarily isn't a bad thing depending on the situation, okay? Sometimes you have to pick a side, okay? And this was one of them situations where the things that she's saying is putting me in a bad light. More so to, I'm a doctor. Okay, we got licenses and things like that. It's rules we got to abide by. The things she's saying, I could probably be breaking one of them rules if this could, it could snowball effect into something else. Somebody could take it and run with it, and now Dr. Simone, demented doctor, out here killing patients. Like crazy stuff. And now she can lose her livelihood. Bad reputation. Things like that. And that's where Simone's mind was going. Okay, that's. I think we all can understand that. I think we all got that. It was just Heavenly doubling down and sticking to it even after we watched it. Like, how many times did they even replay that dang clip? To where Heavenly put her arm around her shoulder to say, hey girl, how she always do. And Simone took the arm like this and said, nah. Doop. Doop. Yeah, so Dr. Jackie, she cannot be neutral in this moment. And for some reason, that's where she's standing. And I think, yeah, I'm sure everybody else sitting there is in agreement that, yeah, Jackie, we on Simone's side when it comes to this, because we know Simone ain't gonna bust a grape or nothing. It's Simone. But dealing with Heavenly, she's taking it a little bit too far. So we're gonna end this part one with Heavenly, or not Heavenly, but it was Dr. Jackie trying to apologize to Simone, because the catalyst for Simone would be the Watch What Happens live show, when Andy asked her about the whole situation, and she said, "Oh, I wasn't there, so after I watched the footage, they both was wrong. That was the wrong answer." So for Jackie, she's trying to explain that, well, she did say the right answer. It was just off camera, okay? It was in conversation with Andy, prior to the interview. So I guess for her, it was like, oh, well, I already gave the answer, so here's whatever this answer. I don't know. But either way, Simone's just trying to say, like, okay, with that, we're just going, the friendship that it's just, this is going to be the nail right there, okay? So we're going to boom, 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 hammer this in, and now we got a notch in our friendship, because I just needed you to have my back. That's all. You know how this medical stuff works, and these, like you. But in this moment, you just didn't stick up for me like I thought you would, especially for the dentist that you didn't see it for when we first met her. Because remember, she not a real doctor and all that stuff like that. I just can't believe that we went from that to, oh, they best as the friends and all this stuff. Like, it was messed up. And Jackie tried to do her, girl, it's just me and you in the room. She pulled her to the side. She like, she can always bring Simone down. She can always do it. But Simone said, listen, in that moment, girl, I knew everything that was happening, and I was popping off because they was coming after me. And when we was in Florida and you tried to reprimand me like I was the only one out there tripping, Angel was tripping, Quad was tripping, like, what? Girl, like, I can't. That was it. I can't. And then right there you go on the show and still, nope. So she's standing on it. She's like, listen, Jackie, I don't know what else to say, but just for now, like for moving forward, you done messed up and you got to figure out how to fix this. And the whole time they trying to do their own thing. Here go Dr. Heavily all in the background. Yeah, she can't take accountability for nothing. Ooh, she's always her. She don't know. She the one that touched me. I ain't touch her. Like, girl, your fault. I can't stand. Ooh. But anyway, we're gonna get to the next one. I'm gonna do it on time anyway because it's the last one. So we don't let the last one drag. We never gonna do that. Okay. But anyway, we'll get to the conclusion because we definitely got to rewind back to them niggas because what the flip? Ooh, and I'm sorry I said the N word. I want to I don't get paid for this anyway. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, because Stevie, oh no, I might have to cuss him out. I don't know. But I think I'm gonna have to. Cause I don't, Eugene and Latoya and Toya can be whatever, but the way that y'all coming at him, this like really disrespectful, emasculation type disrespectful. You don't do that to men, right? Like everybody know that's just wrong, and that's hitting. That would be hitting below the belt for a man, right? Yeah, you do. So he might have to. And Curtis, because you bad. You still mad at the top? Ooh, see, and Eugene, I wouldn't even listen to Curtis. I would be telling, ooh, see, we can't. I can't. Yeah, let me get off here because it's already long. But we gonna get to it on the next one. So bye. Reunion, married to medicine. Thanks for watching, y'all. Peace.